Hi, so now we're going to explore Exogen for the martial arts. As I mentioned before, our good friend Pete here, an MMA fighter here in Asia. He's going to be demonstrating and trialing a little bit as well. Pete's had a little bit of introduction to the product as well. We've never had him loaded up with the full suit, so again, this is a first-time experience for Pete. So Pete's going to take us through just some of the movements you're doing.
Yeah, we're just going to do very basic stuff, just like 1-2 combinations, like throwing a bit of wrestling for some contact, because you want to see what the Velcro basically does under contact. Does it come off? Does it stay there?
And we've had this in full contact rugby drills in New Zealand. It's a contact-based outfit, so we're comfortable with that. But Pete will be showing you that as he goes.
Indeed, indeed. And I mean, with the contact, these things don't come off when the Exogen skeleton is naked, essentially. Yeah. So if you put something over the top, it's even better.
Yeah, cool.
But the loadout right now, I've got quite a few weights on. It's basically just about seeing, how it feels. I mean, is there any restriction to my movement, so on and so forth, and does everything feel heavier? And it should do.
How much weight do you think you have on you?
I'm not really sure.
Take a guess.
A couple of kilograms, maybe about 2 to 3.
2 to 3, that's closer to 4, about 4.5 kgs of weight, so you've got almost 10 pounds. That's a massive load. So Pete, you're 80 kilo guy?
So I'm currently walking with a suit on at around my after fight, after weigh-in sort of weight when I've splurged and I've got a lot of extra meat left on me.
Well, so let's give it a shot, you guys.
Okay, so we're just going to start off like with 1-2. So I'm going to step in, so left, right, about chin height here. Okay. Still feels sharp, it's still quite fast. I think it might be the loading direction. Okay, 1-2, and then left hook, so in. Okay, so it still feels good. Feels heavier on the load up, just feels like a heavier me, really. Okay, left, right, left kick. So you're gonna have to move back for the kick. Feels fine, kicks feel good, no difference really. Just moving a heavy version of myself around.
Pete, how'd that feel? Just some of the basic movements you were doing?
Oh, that feels absolutely fine. There's it just feels like a heavier me.
Yep.
I'm used to this sort of weight, more around the stomach sort of area.
Yep.
But it's good to have it out on the limbs where it's actually useful to
what's working. Yeah. So how did the punch feel in terms of power? Now you loaded here, as we mentioned. This is proximal loading for speed. Can you feel that effect where the initial motion is heavy and there's still a finishing snap?
It feels okay. Still feels fast and fluid because I use the full body motion to get in and strike. But yeah, no, it feels a bit pulled back in the palm. It's actually pretty rapid still. And so I felt it on the hook more because my long style of hook, it requires to pull across and I can feel the weight there.
For sure, especially in that shoulder.
Yes.
And what's really important for everybody to know too is, although it's light loading, it's still loading, and resistance at high speed can be just as injurious as heavy resistance in the gym. So you want to make sure you're loaded. Now Pete's pretty well seasoned. This isn't how you'd start out, but let's continue on. Pete, show us a few more things. And yeah, just show us what you've got.
Okay, let's
don't knock them out.
Let's try a knee, keep that up here and off to the side. I'm gonna just basically throw in a knee even higher. So I'm just gonna step in and see if I can throw up my right knee here, bomb. Yeah, nothing, just heavier on the hips, which is good. Okay, right up kick. Okay, that's good. Yeah, it's all nice, it's all nice. Okay, we'll try a bit more contact. So 1-2, sprawling and going for takedown. Okay, so. Absolutely fine, yeah.
That's bad.
Sorry about that.
So again, as you just saw, going into contact, there's not a lot of outfits that are not a lot of resistance you can do that kind of movement with.
Yeah, I mean, if I was to try and hold weights and do that, it wouldn't work. This is basically, if I'm going to wear this, it's going to wear me down faster and condition me better.
How do you feel now? Are you puffing a little bit using it?
A little bit more, a little bit more. I wouldn't be, I don't think, if I wasn't wearing it as much.
Yeah, sure.
For sure.
So going back to movement, as I said, we talked a lot earlier about design being key to our technology. Is it stopping you in any way? And honestly, I mean, are you restricted or are you feeling that? Or when you're doing these moves, are you thinking about the load and weight or are you thinking about the move?
I'm thinking about the move. I'm just clasping my hands here like I'm not wearing anything at all, like with regards to weights. So I mean, normally if you've got the wrist weights on, if I'm doing this, it's shaking all over the place.
Yeah, sure. And some of the vests and earlier things, you know, it's all those little things that are distracting from what you're trying to concentrate on. Yeah. So when you shot, were you feeling that movement, or was it just moving with you?
It probably gave me more momentum.
Yeah, cool.
And made it a little more horrible for it.
So let me ask you this, from a mixed martial arts perspective, you've got groundwork, you've got striking. What are some of the areas you think you personally might want to use it for? In general, for the martial artists that are out there watching.
I mean, just general jogging around, you know, just loading up with a bit of weight and doing like your conditioning. We don't, personally, I mean, I don't go for long runs. Yeah. The Thai guys usually go for like 10 kilometers before breakfast, but I prefer to do something a bit shorter, maybe load up. So it's just harder for me to breathe and
higher intensity, less volume.
Yes, less volume. We've got 15-minute fights. We don't need to fight for like 2 hours non-stop. Right. So we don't need to do like, you know, 100-mile runs.
So from a conditioning aspect, some of that circuit work and the in-gym work that you do, conditioning-wise, it could work?
Totally, it would definitely work. And I mean, what we do a lot of in-gym stuff. We do it on low carbohydrates essentially, so we're a bit drained. Yeah. So we don't want to have to think about doing stuff. So we do self-weight, but with additional weight, if you see what I mean, and that would be fantastic. It just makes it much easier. There's less to think about, and you can think of nothing at that moment.
And so, last question I have again is, as a martial artist, do you think a product like Exogen has value for the martial arts market and the martial arts world? Is this something that can help improve people in the mixed martial arts and possibly other areas?
I think it could definitely help. I mean, any sort of sport that requires you to have your own body movement, you know, not pushing weights, for example, but like if you're a sprinter, if you're like doing martial arts, you're doing kicks, if you're swimming, anything where you're like, for example, like ballet, maybe even that, for example, gymnastics, of course, you'd benefit from having this. You'd have to work for less time to gain the same amount of you know.
Yeah, sure. And that's at higher intensity. Yes. I'll tell you what we're going to do now, same thing we did before. We're going to put Pete, we're going to strip the loading off Pete. We're going to let him get a few minutes of recovery and potentiation. We're going to have him go through some of those movements again, nice and light and free, and see how he feels.